Hi again. Welcome back to the Valentine slash my mom edition of Boozing with Jude. Valentine's Day. You know what? I have a saying. Who needs a Valentine when you have a Valentine? Valentine's type of drink, alcohol. Who needs a Valentine when you have a Valentine? This is me because, I'm bitter because I'll be by myself with my, beautiful Valentine's dinner. Okay, no, Max will be here. Anyways, I'm going to do a Valentine drink. I'm going to dedicate it to my mom. My very first Valentine flower when I was a girl. She came home and she brought me one carnation. I had never seen a carnation. I smelled the crap out of that. It smelled so good. To this day, it's one of my favorite flowers. Maybe my favorite, not for the look, because of the smell. I was just fascinated with this, and she gave it to me for Valentine's Day because I'm her only daughter. You're my Valentine. You're my baby. Blah, blah, blah. All that stuff was kind of lost on me back then, but I loved that flower. And my mother is no longer with us. Gloria, God rest her soul. But why am I dedicating this to her? Well, first of all, her birthday was Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. Hey, happy birthday, Mom, in heaven. And secondly, the drink I'm making. I remember when I was quite young, I don't know if she liked them, ordered them. I remember hearing her maybe order it or talk about liking the Harvey Wallbanger. Jude, really? Is that a drink? Is that even a drink? Well, if you're like a youngster, you might be asking that. It was popular in the 70s. You don't hear much about it, but it still exists and it should. So let's tell you, what is it? First of all, I got to say, okay, I'm wearing my mom's earrings that I gave her for one of her last birthdays. See, they're garnet, birthstone. Okay, that has nothing to do with this drink except, it's for my mom. Okay, Harvey Wallbanger. We all know what a screwdriver is. It's, I think it's one of the most boring drinks ever, but you know what? It's your life. Live it, drinking the cocktails you like. A screwdriver is basically vodka and orange juice. Okay? A Harvey Wallbanger has an addition. It has this addition. Galliano l'Autentico. Galliano l'Autentico. You've seen this. This is a half bottle. I didn't buy the big one because it doesn't fit on anybody's shelf. It's like this big. And it's meant to be modeled after like a Roman column, right? So I got the little bottle. Not because, a lot of people buy it for their one drink and then it sits there for 100 years. There are drinks you can make with this. So let's talk about the Harvey Wallbanger. Let's talk about Galliano l'Autentico. Harvey Wallbanger was created in 1952 by a guy named, I gotta see if I can remember this. Duke was his nickname. So Donato, Duke Antone or Antone. He owned a place called Duke's Backwater Bar or something like that. Back Beach Bar. Duke's Back Beach Bar in Hollywood on Sunset Boulevard. And he made this drink and named it after a guy who was like a surfer dude who used to come in there, one of his customers, and his name was Tom Harvey. So he named it Harvey. Now, Wallbanger, I don't know. I don't know what that means. It's like, oh. Okay, anyways, Harvey Wallbanger. So there it is. But let's talk more about this. Galliano. We haven't had it here with Galliano. A lot of people don't use it anymore, but you should. So first of all, it's made in, it's distilled now in Italy. Unfortunately, in my opinion, it comes from Holland because Bols, B-O-L-S, you might have seen Bols. Bols now distributes it, and they're in Holland. Bols, they make things like, these butterscotch schnapps things and, fruity things that you put in drinks, like inexpensive liqueurs that you add to cocktails. So it was created by a guy named Arturo Vaccardi. I think that's right. He had his own little distillery in a place in Tuscany, Italy. Livorno is the name of the town. Livorno, Italy, in Tuscany. And in 1895, 1896, he created this, and he called it Galliano after a guy named Giuseppe Galliano. Giuseppe Galliano was a war hero. He died in battle in a 2-year war. It was the Italo-Abyssinian War. So it was a war that apparently Italy was having with Ethiopia. Now, I don't know what the war was about. I don't know the history of that. We'd have to ask my friend Keith Surridge, my friend from England, who I know from when I lived in London. Not that I'm bragging. He probably knows about the, Italo-Abyssinian War. But anyway, so Giuseppe died in that war, and so he called this Galliano after Giuseppe Galliano. And what's in it? Okay, well, much like the Amati we've discussed, it's not an Amato, it's not a bitter, but a lot of the recipe is proprietary. So we do know some things. It has its top note is vanilla, so it's a vanilla. It's kind of sweet. It's herbal. The second thing you'll get, it's an anisette or star of anise in there, but lighter. And the vanilla distinguishes it from things like sambuca or those very anisette sort of drinks that you're used to getting Pernod, that you're used to drinking, because it's got that vanilla note in it. You're going to get some light citrus. It's got some herbal or herbal flavors. It's kind of woodsy. It's very interesting. We're going to use a ½ ounce of it, and it's don't be fooled, 42.3% alcohol by volume. That's a pretty powerful little drink there, fans. So it's a digestivo. In Italy, people might drink it after a full meal. So if you do drink it straight, I wouldn't pour like a big old pitcher. But it's quite interesting and good. So if I'm going to drink a screwdriver, I'm going to actually ask for a Harvey Wallbanger because it does make it interesting. And I think my mom must have used to like them. She wasn't a big drinker. I mean, once in a while she'd have a glass of wine or even a beer with her, her fish. She liked fish, like whitefish or what's the one I can't remember that she liked really well. But my mom from New Orleans, she's cool, but she wasn't a big drinker. But Harvey Wallbanger, for her birthday, for Valentine's Day, for those of you like me that will be sitting alone, and will pick up your little Valentine's meal, your little salmon or your stuffed chicken breast, and eating it with your dog. Happy Valentine's Day. Now, the difference between Harvey Wallbanger normal and Harvey Wallbanger Judy Valentine's Day, I'm using another edition of blood orange juice from Sicilia. Actually, the blood oranges are from Florida, but it just calls for orange juice, but I want it to be a lovely red color, and I love this stuff. I can't get enough of the blood orange, but you don't have to use it. You can use just regular orange juice from regular, navel oranges. You're going to need 4 ounces, okay? So, let's make it. It's piece of cake drink. I'm using a Collins glass, my mom's Collins glass. She left her crystal glasses to me. I can't get that little piece of ice out of there. Well, that'll just have to stay in there. So I'm just going to take a picture. I could shake it, but you know what? I mean, I'd make it in the glass, but I'm not keen on stirring stuff with red. Sorry, in a glass because I just don't want it to spill. So let's take this. The first thing we're going to do is take vodka. So it's vodka, juice, and Galliano. So it's normally be 2 ounces of vodka for a screwdriver, but because we're going to put the Galliano in as a float, we're going to call it a float. We're going to do 1½ ounces of vodka. And I am using Tito's. It's quite popular. I mean, that I don't, know much about vodkas. Normally I use a Polish vodka called Belvedere. I'm all out of it, but this is from Texas, I believe, in Austin, Texas, and people are really keen on it. So I've been using that for the last couple of vodka drinks I made. Okay? Now, this is 4 ounces of, I can tell you this is 4 ounces of blood red orange juice, but it's not orange. Blood red juice. and my other episodes talk about why I love this and why it's from Sicily and why they grow well in Sicily. So exactly 2 ounces, exactly 4 ounces, excuse me, of that. So then we're going to put a little ice in and stir it to chill it. Careful, careful, careful. Red stains, just saying. Okay. So just stir that up. Notice I didn't put the Galliano on. So we're going to do what's called a float. A float is just basically pouring something on the top of the drink, and we're going to pour it carefully over the back of the bar spoon so that it stays floating on top. We don't want to mix it in with the drink. So when you drink it, you're going to sip it through that flavor of the Galliano. Okay? So it's pretty easy. You just need to be very careful when you do it. So that it doesn't sink down and mix in, because that's what you don't want to happen. So I'm going to put some ice in the glass. I'm looking around and I'm seeing dude, I have a julep strainer. Wow, I'm hitting things like crazy. I'm gonna knock stuff over. My mother would be like, Judy, you're so clumsy. I am. Yeah, I am clumsy. So, make sure you got a decent amount of ice. This has been chilling. Maybe that's too much. I don't need it to overflow. But we always want to put a lot of ice in because it melts slower when there's a lot of ice in it. So take your strainer, whichever one you decide to use, and pour it in your Collins glass. There we go. Pretty red. Here, I'll move stuff so you can see. And then, for the piece de resistance. I don't speak French, as you know. I'm sure I said it wrong. And this thing, my mother wasn't French. She was Sicilian. Yeah, both of her parents were from Sicily. So, thus the Galliano, the Harvey Wallbanger Galliano. So a half an ounce we're going to pour right in here. It's very yellowy and golden. And I'll tell you about that in 1 second. And we're going to carefully pour it, very carefully. We're spilling it. I have way too much in here. Pour it over. I would say, now I just learned something. Pour the half ounce in an ounce jigger, not in a half ounce, because it kind of spills out. So you want to just kind of float it over the back of the bar spoon. And it's hard to do that when, you know, it's full. So I didn't do a really good job of that. This won't go down as like, you know, my Emmy award-winning thing. It's good. So it's a really interesting flavor though. So, and then we're gonna just maybe put a little blood orange. Normally it would be an orange slice. And maraschino cherries, I'm using my dark ones here. The ones from Traverse City. My whiskey cherries. Wow, I need a towel. Anyway, so just a little brief thing about Galliano. Harvey Wallbanger is probably the most famous drink you've heard of. You might have heard of the Golden Cadillac. It goes in that. There's one called the Yellow Bird that it makes, and because of its golden color. But even in the screwdriver, I mean, like with a Golden Cadillac, you know, or Yellow Bird, it's going to be a golden drink. But with the screwdriver, that orange juice kind of overpowers it. It's always orange. So I'm not too worried about using the, you know, changing the color up here. It's Valentine's Day, and it wouldn't have been golden. But anyway, so here we go. Mom, I'm really sorry. I kind of screwed this up. You know, I hit things. I knocked things over. But she'd be saying, don't be drinking. You drink too much. Okay. I don't, Mom. I don't drink too much. But, you know, I think she'd probably think this show wasn't, you know, very appropriate for her only daughter. But that's okay. You know, she would like the Harvey Wallbanger. So here you go. Folks, this is to my mom, Gloria Ni Cusamano, Gloria Hutchinson, my mom, in heaven, and to all of our moms who maybe were our first Valentine, and to those of you who sadly, like me, will be spending Valentine's Day home alone and that sort of thing. So salute, happy Valentine's Day, happy birthday to my mother. Okay, what makes this better than a screwdriver? The Galliano is really interesting, folks. It's really good. You get that vanilla, you know, you're drinking it through there. You got to do a better job than I did of pouring that float on the top. But and the blood orange is a sweeter flavor than just orange juice. It's still tart, but it's sweeter, and it just, I don't know, it's more, I like it better. I you know, you might, if you love the screwdriver, my apologies for bashing it. I just find it a boring kind of, it's just like orange juice that tastes vodka-y. And vodka doesn't have a flavor, so how could it? But you know what I mean. So if you want a nice Valentine's colored drink, and that's refreshing and different and good, try the Harvey Wallbanger, Judy's Valentine Edition with blood orange. And until next time, you know, who knows what we'll be celebrating. Thanks for joining me again. I hope things go well. I hope you all have a great Valentine's Day, and hope it gets warmer and the snow goes away wherever you are. Okay?